7,649 days. That's the duration since Eliud Kipchoge and Kenenisa Bekele first went head-to-head in a global championship final. We need to go all the way back to the 2003 World Championships in the 5,000 meters, where these two athletes clashed in one of the most unforgettable races in the history of global championships. The final lap was an all-out sprint, with the 18-year-old Eliud Kipchoge emerging victorious, clocking in at a championship record time of 12 minutes and 52 seconds. A record that, incredibly, still stands to this day. What's astounding about this moment is that no one could have predicted just how dominant these two athletes would become. Over the next 2 decades, they not only revolutionized the sport, but ascended to the status of global icons, the two greatest distance runners of all time. Adding even more significance to that race is the fact that it took place in Paris, France. And this year, at the Olympic Games, they have another chance to compete against each other and make Olympic history. The rivalry between Kipchoge and Bekele has been building for 6 straight years. Throughout much of their careers, they had the opportunity to race each other, both in cross-country and on the track. However, they haven't faced off over any distance since 2018. There's a reason why these two are regarded as potentially the greatest distance runners to ever compete. When they were at their peak, they were virtually untouchable. From 2004 to 2009, Kenenisa Bekele was a force to be reckoned with on the track, closing his final 400 meters with the speed of a sprinter. His strength to outlast his competitors was unmatched, and during this time, Eliud Kipchoge often found himself competing against Bekele, could never quite surpass the great Bekele on the track. Bekele's track record includes numerous world championship and Olympic medals. However, since 2012, he hasn't been able to qualify for the Olympic Games. This means that for a full 12 years, Bekele did not compete in the Olympic Games for Team Ethiopia. In a strange twist of fate, something will be clashing. They will be up against one of the most competitive fields they have ever faced. For either of them to win, they will need to execute a nearly perfect race. Set to compete against these two are some incredibly talented athletes. From Kenya alone, we have Barnabas Kiptum and Alexander Mutiso. From Ethiopia, there's Deso Gelet and Tamarat Tola. From Tanzania, Gabriel Gie, who was one of the athletes to drop Kipchoge in the Boston Marathon. Uganda's contingent includes Stephen Kissa and Victor Kiplangat. And from Canada, we have Cam Levins. In total, 81 athletes are set to compete for the gold medal in Paris. And I'll leave a link down below for the full entry list if you want to check it out. To put it simply, there's a significant number of athletes running exceptionally fast times, under 2 hours and 5 minutes, and even under 2 hours and 4 minutes. And I should mention that the weather forecast for this Olympic final looks nearly perfect. It's expected to be around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, with no chance of rain, low wind speeds, and slightly elevated humidity, which shouldn't be much of an issue for these athletes. Now, I wouldn't expect anything close to a world record, as there are no pacemakers in the Olympic marathon. But that only makes this race even more exciting, because there will be tactics and strategies all over the place. And potentially, if Kipchoge or Bekele plays their cards right, they could find themselves on the podium. If everything goes perfectly, one of them might even claim the gold medal. Now, I'd love to hear all your thoughts on this race. What do you think is going to happen in this year's Olympic marathon? What do you think will happen with the GOAT, Kipchoge? What about Bekele? What are your predictions for this race? And what time do you think will be needed to win? Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, let's celebrate these two legends.